The name Shizuoka, it comes from a region of Japan that I stayed in when I was doing the Japanese Kirin in 2005. And the philosophy behind the bikes actually came from when a wet afternoon I was sitting in a cafe watching the rain come down and seeing all the local people commuting on their bikes. And I remember thinking at the time, what would the perfect commuter bike be like? What would it look like? And I started sort of jotting down some ideas and some notes. And that was where the first sort of seed, the first idea came to create the Shizuoka hybrid range. Well, I kind of thought that traditionally commuter bikes and hybrids kind of get a raw end of the deal a little bit. They get the heavier tubing, they get the lower end componentry, and they're often a kind of unloved type of bike, a second bike that people don't really put as much effort into. But we really put a huge amount of effort into our hybrid bikes to try and make them as light as possible, to make them ride as fast as possible, so that just because you're not in a low crouched racing position, you can still go quickly on it and still get from A to B as easily as possible and as comfortably as possible.
The variation in the top tube, down tube profiles and the butting that have gone into the Amori and Alto Apavi has gone into the Shizuoka. It's the same thinking that we don't want to make the small frames overly stiff, we don't want to make the large frames too flexible. I don't know, it's certainly not a common thing to do. I don't know many brands that do it with their road bikes. I can't think of any that do it with hybrid city bikes, flat bar sport bikes, whatever we want to call them at this sort of price point. So, but it doesn't cost us that much more to do it, but it makes the bikes better. So that's why we thought, well, why not? And then as far as how much focus goes into the bikes, rather than think they're not just a sideline, there's just as many. It's probably more people want to ride something like that bike than there are road bikes. You don't necessarily have to go for drop bars if you just want a sporty, nippy handling, fast bike that maybe can do a little bit more. So.
I think the details I like best about the Shizuoka, first of all, the brakes are great for all weather use. The disc brakes are fantastic. It's very lightweight. It's the fact that we've used this really, quality triple-butted tubing, aluminium tubing, to make it as light as possible. A full carbon fork in the high-end ones as well. But it's the whole package. It's the fact that we've gone for very kind of muted colours and quite subtle styling on it. So it's not an in-your-face kind of bike. It's one of these things which I think looks great out and about.
The Shizuoka 5 is a good example where we've got a low spoke wheel set, which is more commonly found on a road bike, but we've also got a 1x11 drivetrain, which is more commonly found on a mountain bike. So there we've got a real mix of, you want flat bars and you want hydraulic brakes, and you might want the simplicity of a wide ratio 1x11 group set, but you also want lightweight wheels and a light frame so you can go fast. So it's where hybrids get. Hybrids can be really good if you mix and match those part choices in the right way, or they can be really neither one thing nor the other if they don't get that right. So hopefully we get that right for enough customers who value the simplicity of one bike, but also like a nice lightweight fulcrum wheel set on a bike like that. So.
I mean, I use my Shizuoka as a kind of just go-to bike for getting around when I don't want to be, riding around on a road bike or a low position. If I've got casual clothing on where I don't want to be stretched out, and it's fun. It's having this sort of wide handlebar, upright position. You see more of the place. Your head's up. You're looking around. I've always enjoyed riding my Shizuoka.